with the grand finals of Blast Istanbul. The two best teams here in Turkey, and they are starting this one off so quick. It is, of course, Train, and it's a fast fight on the B-bomb site with Device finding those first two frags, but he's lost his teammate. That's Zipex down over towards the other side of Train, and Device hasn't fallen off at all. In fact, Device is going to come skewer this from the side. There's the first and the second. He's looking for the ace, and what a way that would be to kick off this pistol. Tarek, little does he realize, being wrapped from behind, he's done. And Astralis will take round one.
It was still a clip at the end of the day. One of the most simplistic executes that you can have that's highly effective for most of the time, at least getting the bomb down, that simple run down the ramp, plant on B strategy that we see on Train. It's something that we're gonna see more often than not, especially on those eco rounds, and just to rack up those dollars, but Device so close to getting around on that flank and finishing off the ace. What a sight that would have been.
Still a beautiful play nonetheless, right? Stays it nice and cool, keeps himself just next to them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So it's gonna be on Mibr to decide at this moment how much money they want to invest into this round. Knowing they got a bomb plant means that they can buy up next round. If they get a P250 on this round, it takes away from a smoke that they'll have next round. So that's why we see, even though they have a lot of money to spare and they'll have the AK armor, they want to have all the fix-ins as well. So they're just going to stick to the Glocks. And there's still a chance because some teams will play far back on the B site and allow for the plant and go for the retake. So they're hoping for that, but we've got a man spotting lower ramp, and Zipex has actually fallen off now, which is kind of interesting, but still has the full intention of denying anybody from coming down.
Nice frag grenade. Nice frag grenade indeed. Device back, waiting for these players to come past. The big question is, how well is this flashbang going to blind anybody on the bomb site? Is it going to do anything at all? And when? At what point do they decide to throw this? Because you know that Dupree is just ready to strike in from behind, but it looks like Device is going to get this round finished before anything even gets started.
That was pretty great. They actually tried to flash while the engagement was going on. It looked like they threw it offhand, but I think they wanted Device's full attention so that he was definitely going to be staring at it, and it seemed like they weren't going to throw a flash at this point, and Device just kind of sits there, eats it, and since it's so far away, it's only an after image flash, and he's able to just continue on and make sure that nobody gets onto the site. So I personally prefer when teams risk it a little bit and put the rifles more up front on the B site, because the $800 per person is just too much to let go. And so setup looked good to me. Now we've got the rifle rounds, a couple of early nades thrown over on the A site, and I think Zipex got a little bit friendly up the ramp, but has immediately fallen back, only to escort Device, who is now all alone here, but could be offered up a couple of frags.
Oh, could be offered up so many. I mean, these kills could just come to him. They could all line up unless they all go past, because 3 players down ramp thanks to the flash. Fallen, the last one in, and Device has all this info. There's no way they assume he's still up here, you'd think. And it looks like Device, just like in the pistols, is going to stop the plant. He picks up the kills to go with it. Device and Glaive. And Device yet again.
4 frags just like that. I mean, this is unbelievable. We normally see Device get op highlights, and even on maps where he's dominating with the op, you typically don't recall what kills he got. He'll get a quiet 20, and it's not often you see this, just like impeccable rifling, and again, all headshots. Stewie on the flank had him dead to rights there, and he even gets taken out, so that's unreal. I mean, they had that locked up as soon as they decided to not clear long, and it was really all about the fact that Astralis decided to post someone up there, such an unexpected time. Round 4, and we're back on the deco. Only man to not get a single thing is Fallen, obviously, because he wants to save as much money as he can to make sure he can op with nades. A lot of long ranges for these deagles. The primary positions, as was mentioned in the video explaining the maps. One of those being T-Con, another Pop Dog, which I personally like to call ladder.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a European thing.
Yeah.
But it's still nice and slow in this 1 minute mark. Hits the clock. And Stewie 2K's managed to sneak his way out into the bomb site. I mean, Device finally spots it, sure enough, but that could have been a big entry frag for the Tees that didn't try to burst off of. But Device again and again, he picks up these kills with ease. Astralis to the 4-0 start.
This already feels very different, just Device in these first few rounds. I mean, when has he ever really been this explosive? This is like really amazing to watch, to be honest. Now, this is a map, obviously, that MIBR are going to be happy to play, but it's a map that Astralis have shown dominance on in the past. I mean, famously, their comeback versus Virtus.pro to win, the E-League finals. Their first major was on this map, on the T side with Glaive calling. It was kind of the first sign that Glaive was able to like rally the team to make a giant comeback, and ever since then, they've obviously seen amazing results. So this is a map that it's just both teams are going to be very good. As you see, like even Lurpus was kind of surprised at the way the veto fell into place. That at the very least, MIBR have a chance.
I was wondering if we were going to see another Dust 2 game, seeing as they didn't ban it straight away. It could have been a choice for Astralis, obviously, picking up recent wins with it, but this was the big question mark, right? What was the trick that MIBR were going to try to use to upset in this? Because a lot of teams have tried to best Astralis at a BO3 as of late, and none have been successful. You've got to bring something special. Be cut from a different cloth.
So team main control is something that a lot of teams are taking instead of Ivy, and we can see that we have one player in Hell just watching his back, but with T-Con control, if a team does go outside, they still have to take this. Otherwise, they're going to have to deal with someone in a very powerful retake position. And Dupree is not being shy whatsoever. The time is ticking down. Not much map control has been gained from MIBR, and this smoke getting reflashed is clearly going to be a thorn in the side of MIBR, who it seems like they want to get ahead with things.
Really want to get their footing on this B site. They're going to have to go through fire if they want it. They're going to have to fight tooth and nail. And they will pick up one kill, sure, but Device, there's just no solution to him right now. Tarek, okay, gets something towards that A site, so a little bit becomes in question, but with Bomb in their line of sight, you'd think they should still be able to control this. It's a smoke for Fallen that he's going to be able to plant inside of. Although, 2 kills right back. Tarek nowhere to be found, and that's a defuse as well. This is Astralis with 5.
They've just got it, yeah. I can't help but think that they had, the part of the MIBR's play right there was contingent on Tarek doing something within T main, but because Dupree was hanging out, he had to wait out that smoke. He probably had to communicate this information with his team who didn't know what was going on that side of the map, and I think if it was even something as such as a small fake, either way, it put them in such an awkward position, having to run down the map through the ramp, through the Molotov. It's clearly not what they intended to do out of spawn. So it's been really good from MIBR. Done a great job not wasting time between grenades, refreshing the smokes as soon as the other ones go up, using Molotovs to pad the experience as well. And now it really seems like they're starting to get control of things, but MIBR are not out.
For the record, Device currently 18-1. 5 rounds into the game. 3 times as many kills as the rest of his team combined.
I'm going to let that one sit for a second. I'm wondering if that's more dominant than we saw from the first game of the day with Xantares. Lantaris.
Yeah. It's definitely a competitive stance between the two. Glaive, his stance is just beneath that of Fur and Coldzera. They'll be waiting on each side of Pop Dog. I feel like Glaive is one of these players who's just so good in this position, constantly obscuring any attempts of clearing this.
This is one of the areas of the map that has evolved so much of any other map where it's a complete mind game as to how you're going to play it. There's a lot of ways to spam most sections of it. There's double Molotovs that you can use to trap someone in and make sure that they'll at least take 40-50 damage if they want to wait one out. And so Glaive right now, he's actually spotting for the jump. So if anybody wants to just try to peek over the ramp or just make a jump across to see if a shot will come out, he'll get some damage out of it. And also, it's actually quite easy to hit a headshot from beneath if a player looks down into ladder. So it looks like he's playing with fire, but there's only a couple of angles that people typically will peek you from.
There it is, 1 and 2. Beautiful. Just as you alluded to, those headshots connect with what looks like ease, and Device will take 2 more. So welcome, Astralis. 2 on fire. This is just a clinic. 20 frags, 1 death. Let's keep this going.
Yeah, that's unreal. I mean, we want to see a record, right? I think I was talking about, oh my God, 20 kills, man. We're not even, oh, what the heck is going on? This is unreal. But yeah, as we can see, it just like falling right into him. Yeah. And you wonder, and it looks like, hey, why didn't they had full nades? Why didn't they go ahead and try to throw some Molotovs down? Why didn't they do the full thing? Well, a smoke can cancel out all that. If you telegraph your play too much, sometimes you can attract too much attention, and that's not good.
Yeah, I think you painted that picture very well, Launders. Literally the moment they attempt to come downwards, it's just headshots and headshots.
So what's the goal now? 35 to 43. It's not the critical moment where you're like, all right, we need Galils, I'm out of ideas. It's still only 6 rounds. The Astralis are already on fire in this match, and of course that's after you win 5 rounds in a row. And I gotta say that Star looks good on fire.
268 ADR right now.
Oh my God! I
didn't even think there was a graph for MIBR.
No, I'm pretty sure they had to paint that bar manually at that point.
Gonna see this continuous aggression. Obviously, MIBR not offering much of a struggle with just these pistols, but nobody getting too ridiculous from Astralis either. If you have this dominant of a 6-0 start, then you don't want MIBR even finding any footing in this game. We saw a 16-0 on Dust. How about we see one on Train?
You know I don't want that, neither do you.
Yeah, of course.
But if Device can pull out some insane ADR stat line along with a close competitive game on Train, obviously the pick of MIBR.
Insult to injury.
Yeah. So I think we got a back 6 smoke. And Dupree playing up close at E-Box, one of the best players to do it. He's got to be very mobile in this position, and he loves playing by himself.
He's got eyes on T-Con, so a couple of Ts actually get out, but with so much attention honed in on Pop Dog exit, it's just the easy cleanup. Sure, Fur gets 1, but he too taken down by Glaive, who at a distance just taps and taps away. 7-0, and Astralis keep this going.
Yeah, and you can see how he fell back after some of the initial nades came out, and he would have loved to, if they were in a default and they wanted to have like a deagle slide its way into ladder, for him to just take that fight one-on-one and then turn his attention to T-Con, get some early information, not let them out too far. But once he saw that there was more of like a full execute coming down and he went back towards Sandwich, then he knew that with that back 6 smokes, it was clear it was going to be some kind of light A take, excuse me. Now we finally got the op on Fallen, the man that a lot of us call the king of Train. Honestly, he's, in my opinion, invented Ivy as just a portion of the map that he has just innovated so much on. And
nice flashbang. He gets the shot out of Magis, it baits him to fire, and then it's Tarek to just win the duel through smoke. Zipex's position's been abandoned. They don't want to fall into a 3 versus 5 here. That's a big rotation too. Everybody off of the B-bomb site.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, this is kind of a manic rotation. A lot of people are actually moving out towards the stack with ladder control, and they're going to go pick up Ivy again. Do MIBR play right into their read? That would be the ultimate travesty for them at this point. But they do have a man on flex now. Glaive gets pushed out of position. No one there to catch him, but it is kind of a risk to jump out of T-Con, so playing it a little bit more carefully. In exchange, they get ladder safely.
Glaive's gonna get dangerous. Right on the cusp of T-Con. He's got 2 players on the other side of this, bomb and op included with Fallen. 2 towards Pop Dog, and that last man, Tarek's gonna be lurking in through Ivy, but yes, sure, the smoke does fade to the favor of Glaive, picking up the first kill, dropping bomb. Getting the confirmation now because there's 30 seconds. There's 30 seconds for them to get out and deal with this bomb site, but again, they can pinch this still. There's a dedicated defense from Astralis over towards Ivy, but now that gets pulled away, and just as it does, it's perfectly layered, but it does fall on Zipex, and he too just gets blown away. Welcome MIBR to the game. They've got a round finally on the board.
It's maybe the first time the Brazilian team would be happy to see the 1-7.
Yeah,
earn their way into
finally.
it. So, but in great fashion as well. This is a clinic, honestly, a great round in so many respects. We had the very simple trade at T-Con. As soon as Ivy smokes came out, they decided to look for information there, but MIBR were ready for someone to flash in and went 1 for 1, and that's all they needed. Man of the round was Fur, obviously, as he came up on the ladder, the T-Con train ladder, and head peek Dupree. Dupree didn't even notice because it was so clean. And then came off on the slyest angle and put him to sleep. And there it is, instantly taking it. It is so annoying to see that if you're on T side. Because even if they don't play in there, you've still got to think, I can't let them have that, right? They peed on my tree. Yeah. I've got to pee on the tree.
And that's what Fur's going to try to get back in there for. But right now he needs to wait for the smoke to fade. And even though they've already been so proactive, taking control of T-Con, getting eyes and information, they then immediately go into the ladder room to do the same thing. Astralis, I love to watch them in that regards. They're so active constantly.
Yeah, active, proactive. Definitely a hallmark of the former SK lineup and now MIBR team as well. It was just no respect gameplay, calculated risks, always calling bluffs. And again, refreshing that smoke, putting him in that awkward position once again. Maybe there's something about MIBR's play right now that's hinging on them having T-Con for some kind of small pick if they want to do anything inner, because a lot of the times now it looks like they're posturing for outside.
They get themselves down ladder just to find Glaive on the other side. He had only just then, at that moment, burst back inwards as they fell. Right place at the right time. Could grab himself another, but for now it's over towards the site that Dupree kicks himself to. And another clean sweep. Not a single kill here for MIBR's favor, and that's not the reset you want to see.
The really hard thing that Astralis are pulling off right now is that they're going for multiple pieces of map control and then winning every single one of them, obviously, right? That's why it looks so dominant, but it's tough because you're thinning out numbers. There's still only 5 CTs, so they're kind of taking risks, but they're being so creative about the way that they're approaching it, right? You know, they're actually like focusing most of their smokes on deep T-Con smokes as opposed to counter smokes at sandwich, which you would use versus a regular A execute. Then they had 2 people outside ladder, knowing that T-Con control was going to be relatively safe for a certain amount of time, and then as soon as they tried to flash down, they just walked in. Got that kill right there, stole it back, and Device is still sporting over 200 ADR.
What's wild too is that actually dwarfs the effects of Glaive. I mean, he's over 100 ADR himself, but it just doesn't look nearly as significant, albeit I think he's been at the front of everything, Melanius. Yeah. He's been constantly throwing himself into MIBR's front line. Anything that they attempt to do, he seems to be directly on the other side. And if they do get past him, well, it's Device and bomb sites getting 4Ks. But he's been sitting on 20 kills for quite some time now, which is perfectly fine because it means that everybody else is coming to life. And that's the thing with Astralis, the depth is there.
So we've got kind of the nip force up, Stewie 2K with just the AK in hand, Tarek alone in ladder, but he's gotten down, which is actually really huge for them. I don't know if they go ahead and trade places. Instead, Stewie turns his talents towards inner.
Yeah, and it's only at this point that Astralis are actually getting defenders towards B. We've got Zipex over towards the oil tankard, and we have Device watching ramp with his op, but his attention being called slightly back, doesn't want to get caught out in the open. Pistol spam can still connect if you're not cautious. Sure enough, with a flashbang coming out, Zipex gets himself the first one, and he falls off to a more narrow angle. That's so hard for Stewie to duel from that position. Either you fall into the open arms, or you sit back and try to duel while exposed. Now, finally, we get an answer from Fur. It's 2 Ts up for MIBR, but they're being flanked already, and it's a cleanup. Plant all the bombs you want. Get a single entry, sure, but Astralis still have your number.
A small consolation prize for sure, but at least they get that, so it might allow them to maybe think about those force-ups now that the half is pretty much run away from them. They've also got money left over after this buy, which you could factor in the bomb plant for that as well. So that's something nice at the very least. But clearly, as you're pointing out, Astralis are way ahead in this match, and it's not like this map is the train it used to be. You have to be able to put at least 6 rounds on T side together. So I mean, it's clear that MIBR's plan is not going the way that they expected it to. Throw this defensive Molotov, they can work towards ladder, but there are so many things that they have to deal with. And look, Magisk is playing, he's not even sitting in his chair, Connor.
It's that easy. Of course, this is a new territory. Double op setup from Astralis. First, we've seen them swing it on this defense. See if MIBR are expecting this kind of a change-up. Fallen receiving a little bit of chip damage as he patiently waits for smoke to fade and patiently waits for a good reason. That's one of 2 oppers down, and I love the way that Fallen repositions, right? I love the way that we've seen since Yanko's inclusion with this lineup. I feel like MIBR function around him more than they did previously. I feel like Fallen kind of lost himself or didn't have the same importance, but now he is that mobile opper, and he's so good at cracking open bomb sites.
Yeah, definitely that combat opper, that new term that a lot of people are talking about constantly, just the ability to make these wide golf swing flicks up close when it matters. But also at times very patient, like we just saw at Ivy. Now is turning attention to T-Con, which frags are not always offered up here, but the execute is on.
Yeah, it's just a straight up run out. I mean, it's not the first time Astralis have given up this real estate, given MIBR possibly a false sense of security. Because while they have been offered some footing towards the site, it's not that the defense isn't here. I mean, Astralis, they're ready for this retake, and before the bomb's even planted, they've lost 2 more bodies. Dupree's position known. Device as well has fired a shot or 2, and Z Connector's still in firm control, and all the while they're winning these duels, they still have that continuous wraparound from Glaive. What could be the nail in the coffin is that flank. Stewie dropped, and now coldzera's down with him. 5 deaths versus Mibr, and Astralis only lose 2. This is continuing to look very smooth.
Yeah, it's dominance, and yeah, they're knocking it out of the park in every single category. I mean, it seems like Mibr have some ideas of how to take things, but the thing is that Astralis are a sharper blade right now. They're able to call out on reads what needs to be done. They're also able to respond to grenades and map control takes. Like whenever it's either Ladder or T-Con or Ivy, it's just like too much time gets burned off the clock as Mibr try to sort out what might be best, whereas Astralis already know. And those seconds are what are forcing Mibr into bad decisions and making it a lot easier to seal up clean rounds.
I also feel like Mibr weren't tested in their positions last round, and oh my god. More headshots aplenty, pistols up close do nothing. There was an AK, sure, that Catalyst rifle in this one, but it doesn't get much done. Just a single trade. Device will take another death, but with the kills that come with it, I'm sure he doesn't mind. 23-4 is he. 16-2 for Glaive.
Yeah, it's gonna becoming kind of a contest, I think. I feel like 380 on this round. Glaive was probably like, yeah, Device, you're doing so great, man. I can't believe it. Thanks for carrying me. But on the inside, he's like, yeah, I'm getting close. I might actually overtake you in this match.
Device, just stay in spawn this round, all right?
Yeah, why don't you chill out, man? You're doing too much work.
Astralis putting on quite the show. And I'm excited because we've got ourselves another gun round, so if Mibr have any chances at all in these final few rounds, this is going to be our chance to see them.
This is just a clinic, man. This is a monster performance from Astralis. Looking as strong as ever, and the 2 players we were highlighting just now come together for a kill apiece, as you mentioned, in separate parts of the map.
Like, this was a total gun round, and you look at the amount of damage that's been dished back to Astralis, it doesn't even look like that. coldzera replaces the Feet of Fallen, both of which were just there in smoke. Glaive potentially assuming that they had departed, but they just traded places. And I love the way that Glaive stays so far forward. I don't think there's many players that just float alone like that. It does cost them this time. Fallen finds him. Cold's got to be cautious at the flank. There is that wrap up now from Zipex. He's feeling a little lonely at the B site, and he's looking to dance.
2v4 situation, wouldn't put it past 2 of the best players on the planet, but got a whole team on the other side, so.
Yeah, once this gets moving forward, I think that's when Zipex strikes. Sure enough, comes wide, doesn't get the kill to coldzera. That's 2 beautiful headshots that puts it on Fallen. He's gonna have to lead by example, and he could, unless this peek from Dupree gets it done, which it does. Astralis with a 12th. And Mibr still looking lonely on 1.
There was a moment there, just a shred of doubt that Astralis were actually going to take that. If Fallen made his way around the corner, maybe took 1 or 2 bullets, but then the position of Dupree was known. Maybe he resets that 1v1. But instead they bring it close, and that isn't worth anything at this point. We're too far into the half. The money for Astralis is irrelevant. They couldn't care less. We have it on default setup once again. coldzera's making his way across upper. Don't know why that Molotov went down right in front of him, but he goes for the fast entry, maybe to make it seem like they were gonna slow it down, I'm not sure.
Trying to play mind games with timing. Magis gets blindsided. Glaive's got a good position to try and lock this down, but he can't finish the spray. The frag won't get much done either, and then he falls. This could be a second for Mibr unless Dupree just throws a total wrench in the works because bomb's not been planted and he's already here to fight. Sure, Tarek says goodnight, puts him to sleep for now. Zipex emerging from the smoke and looking for a gunfight of his own, but he too toppled. Tarek doing a great job of swinging this down to at least a 1v1, but look at Fur's health. 5 to 100.
He might honestly be relieved to hear that it was an op of all things, considering his HP, if it's not known how much he has left. And again, a total reset of the situation as he goes back to Whitehalls and can pick a site. Device can play middle of the map. That's a solid play. It's kind of on Fur now to get the bomb down. And depending on what he does here, can have a good chance of winning it. Oh my god, he's not going to plant.
Oh, he just gets caught in the movement.
Yeah, well, caught in the movement. Yeah, he's falling off. He could have waited there. It seemed like he knew Device was probably going to be in Z. Didn't want to put the bomb down knowing that he'd be that close. And obviously, if it was a second later, Device would have walked right into his crosshairs. But
yeah.
why did Fur go so far is what I wonder.
I feel like Fur...
I think to not make noise falling.
Or just sees his shoulder in the process of falling down. And I mean, he knows. That's a face of someone who knows that was a mistake.
Yeah.
A crucial one as well. It would have doubled up the score of Mibr, and they'll have one final chance to do so, but they have the chance, not the money.
That's true. Yeah, that's definitely half the fight. So, one round less than this half, and it's a grand final, Connor. I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to put it past Mibr to put this one together and keep it competitive. Greater comebacks have been had.
I watched QB Fire beat Mouse Sports on a comeback like this.
Yeah, but I didn't see Vince eat a boot, so yeah. Did that match really happen?
Still waiting. Tried to cut corners. Astralis are cutting Mibr down right now. Double op setup back up here for the Danes. Looking to put a 14th to the board. Fast exit. T-Con has been quite predominant in these A plays. Smoke goes down at the feet. Zipex will be tested with a multi-frag, which he does not get, only one. And Device, being caught between smoke grenades here, has afforded this plant for Mibr. They still have presence over towards the A site. Remember, Fur got out very early on, and he still resides just outside that T-Con.
Interesting, as the clock ticks down. No one making movements. Dupree late to respond. Wants to go up the ladder, too. He's being very aggressive about this.
Just trying to bang frags around, just trying to distract, maybe. I mean, even if he calls attention, that'd be great. But now it's 2 kills back for the favor of Mibr. They have a man advantage in this after plant, and you do see the CTs just trying to get desperate here, running forward, blanketing it in smoke, and just jumping on the bomb. It's a desperate defuse, but it's nearly there. Fallen will deny it for a second, but still not the best of halves. 13-2 to the favor of Astralis. Just proving they're good on train. No matter where they end up, Launders, they just look like the best in the world.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's a map that they've adopted as well. They are masters on it, and at a certain point, even past SK, you know, in their prime. So as much as Mibr look solid on it, or in the past, can expect that this is, you know, something that they probably wanted to talk about playing in the future. It's clear that they still have a lot of work to do, but it really feels like it's the finer things that are pushing Astralis past them in every single round and past every other team, to be honest. You know, yeah. It's really just about having just such a solid game plan and knowing how to execute on things. And I hate to generalize, but it's hard to be very specific about these things, but we're in a game now, you know, 6 years in, where things have become so refined, it really is about those smaller details. Pistol round out right now. Molly to back 6 to assist instead of a smoke for the players to come up Ivy.
Then they put down their own smoke to the left side. It is still a bit of a smoke trying to obscure this. Fallen, ready to receive, but it looks like Astralis are going to try to make the most of their opponent's smoke by going into the train yard itself. It's the flank around from Stewie and a push up from Fallen that doesn't net him a second kill, but still leaves us in this 3 versus 2. Zipex, having wrapped around from Ivy, can't connect the headshot, and maybe Glaive comes to help, but he's gone. So Glaive finds himself alone, and then Stewie just slays him. Mibr with at least a chance to improve on this atrocious scoreline.
Yeah, they gave us something. Let's make a game of it. I would definitely like to see, you know, them. And the thing is, Astralis in this series, so in this tournament so far, we saw win 4 pistols today. You know, that was a big deal for them. Mibr, on the other hand, they started out in the first couple of months winning 80% of all their pistol rounds, and then suddenly at the major lost, you know, 4 when it mattered, and have continued to lose more. So it's been one of the strangest weaknesses that I think they've had to deal with, because in the best of ones, when they were able to just pull out a pistol or 2, they haven't had to play that many more rounds to win. You know, they've only had to do a fraction of the rifle rounds necessary. So it's the half deco for Astralis this time.
Nice flash grenade. Zipex gets one fully blind. Mibr are losing bodies and giving up guns. I believe that's a FAMAS soon to be retrieved. On top of the MP9 of Zipex, Glaive denied up close. The ump good for a single kill, but now it falls to Cold and Stew. And only Cold He's got 3 opponents ahead, but it looks like they'll eject and head towards the B site. Oh no, not like this.
The whole squad eviscerated just like that. I mean, we were hyping them up, and I'm sure there's a number of fans that were hoping for more, but that was not how an anti-eco should go, obviously, and from our perspective, in the midst of the madness and all the chaos that is outside on Train, it seemed like just a couple of really good pistol shots that were hit. There's obviously ways to mitigate that. You know, the ways that you throw grenades can at least buy for time. But I think at the end of the day, they would even expect of themselves to straight up just win those duels.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're complete and total utter underdogs. You're still talking major champions across the board for Mibr. They are players who at the end of the day can aim, but Astralis get the best of them in the previous round. The 17th swings things back. Tarek not scared off of this position despite the utility.
Oh, that was great timing. Tarek tried to wait as long as humanly possible for that flash to pop, and Glaive just waited him out just an iota of time more.
That's a big kill for Stu. He just grabbed the ump and he gets behind them. I mean, we saw Device in a similar situation when they were on that CT side, but luckily the threat's been cleared for Astralis, and as has the Z connector. 2 kills quickly, and another from Magus. The last man's revealed himself, and there's nothing he can do. Nothing at all, other than maybe another kill. Lucky to be alive at 8 health. Fur wants an upgrade from the MP9, but Device already quickly behind his teammate. So 15-3, 12 points the difference in what has been an incredibly fast first map.
Yeah, and Astralis want that smoke right now. Every single fight, they're going to go ahead and take it, because why not? They basically have nothing to lose. They have so many rounds to work with. And even if they lose a couple, I mean, this is the time where you take risks, considering if it gets later in the half, and let's say Mibr mount some kind of comeback. At that point, playing standard, or not playing standard, might feel too scary. So, a couple of phases of rounds that need to be conquered for Mibr on this long road back. Getting 5v4 is obviously a good start.
Yeah, but Astralis, they know they have rounds to play with, so I think it's for that reason we see this just utter aggression on both sides of the map, which hasn't gotten them past the line of defense just yet. Scout shot's good to damage Zipex. He drops to 15. Still, this bomb could be planted. There's no utility here for Mibr to try and stop it with frags or fire. So sure enough, the retake will be on. And 2 Ts have already ejected their way up back into the upper halls. My question is, does Stewie just get blindsided? Yeah, absolutely. Device goes for the peek, and there's nobody there to cover. While Tarek does spot Zipex beneath, that's just a ruse. It calls the attention, and it seems like this is it. It seems like Astralis just dumpstered Mibr.
Oh my god.
16-3 on their own map choice. The opening